And this meeting is the Shutesbury Board of Health meeting of May 18th. And we are all here. We have a quorum. And can we quickly approve the minutes from last time?
I move to approve the minutes.
Wow. Second?
Second.
Any objections?
None.
All right.
None.
Okay, they are approved. Okay.
There we go.
So I don't think that we can take any action. Well, we can take action. 361 Montague Road, septic system repair. We don't have a review from Charlie yet, but we have an application. We have the fees. Will you authorize me to issue the permit when Charlie is satisfied?
Yes, can you tell us a little bit more about what's going on there?
It's just an ordinary septic system repair.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
Right. I don't have it in front of me, but if you want more details, I'll get it. I
No.
think it's downstairs.
No, I was just curious.
Yeah, it's just the usual.
Okay.
The owner gave a different address, so I'm guessing that it's just an ordinary transfer of title, Title V inspection, and it didn't pass. So the webpage, when Arlene was gone for that first week, I didn't have any statistics to put up. And then we both kind of lost interest in doing it, but two separate people emailed us to say, I hope you haven't stopped putting the COVID statistics on the website, especially given the way things are going now. So I guess we should reinstate that in some way. I don't know if there's some better way of doing it. Does anybody have any thoughts about that? You all know how it looks, right? Maybe not.
I
Yes.
do. But
Of course.
and my thoughts on it are that it's a flawed picture at best,
Yeah.
because so much home testing with unreported results is going on. And so the data just represent people who are being tested in some documented fashion, but it's a tip of the iceberg type of thing. And I don't know how valuable, obviously people feel it's valuable on some level, but I think of it as being just an incomplete picture.
Yeah.
At this point, but if people want it, I will be happy to keep relating the numbers that are coming from DPH into Maven for what they're worth. I'll be happy to keep doing that.
Well, let's think. Go ahead.
Is there a way, is there a way to address for what it's worth? Because that's what I'm hearing from everyone, across the county, that the numbers are just not good.
Yeah, let's think about doing it a different way. Maybe instead of just having this table, which gives this bald picture and doesn't even give a sense that this is not complete data, maybe we should go back to sending out a weekly report. And I wonder what that would look like.
I was going to ask if we wanted to do one this Friday anyway, in advance of town meeting.
Say the last of that again. It got garbled.
In advance of town meeting, if we want to just kind of review what's been recommended around masking in the polling place. And
yeah, I think that's a good idea. And we can explain our things. Grace has agreed that we'll set up a tent that's in which masks are required for the people who want to be in that kind of an environment. and I've made, or I'm in the middle of making some signs for the building, but it would be good to get that out. We can talk about the mask tent, the masking, requested masking inside. We can suggest that people who are at risk either sit in the mask tent or wear a mask in the regular tent. And there was one more thing. It'll come back to me. But yeah, let's send, oh, the microphone protocol, where people will sanitize the microphone after they speak.
The speakers themselves are going to do that. I think that's what we decided.
Yeah, they're big boys and girls. They can handle it.
Yeah. Okay, good.
So the thing will be, take the microphone, turn it on, speak into it. When you're done, turn it off and sanitize it
Okay.
with wipes that'll be provided there. Is there anything else we want to say about town meeting while I mean, obviously we should talk about the rise in cases.
This is not about town meeting, but back to the fact that a lot of cases are positive, but on a home test, unreported. I would just encourage people that if they do get a positive home test, to provide them the link to DPH's guidance about what to do. And it's now a single page on DPH's website that says, here's what to do if you've tested positive, and here's what to do if you've been exposed. So that link we should continue to provide. And I would like to encourage people to shoot me a message or the Board of Health email, Kat, because the more people who do that, the more accurate our numbers are. I will include those in the weekly numbers that I send to you for a report. So the more people speak up when they have a positive, the more accurate those numbers are.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And we can repeat that message once a week, really, along with anything else.
Yeah.
We want to say.
Yeah.
And Kat, were you asking in general what we might want to say on behalf of the Board of Health at town meeting? Was that your question?
No, my
Okay.
real question was, how do we address the wish of citizens to get information about cases from the Board of Health while not providing information that's incomplete, misleading, and perhaps somewhat falsely reassuring? So we can give the same data, but we'll send it out as a town announce. And I'll start putting those on the website. So if there are people who are going directly to the website for that and are maybe not getting the town announce, they can get it as well. But it will come with some nuance and some caution and other information from us. And I think that'll be better. And I'll just get rid of that big table, which is getting really long.
Arlene, do you think that it would be helpful in the town announce to give current case counts for town, but then also to say how CDC is classifying Franklin County at this point?
Oh,
On their
sure.
code, and what that means?
Yeah, because obviously we don't live in a bubble of just staying home and in Shutesbury. We could talk about both Franklin and Hampshire. Honestly, I am not up to date with that. I haven't looked at the
Looked at it yet.
county numbers in a while, but
Well,
Well,
Franklin was red not too long ago. I don't know if it still is.
uh-huh.
it would be anecdotal, but it would be interesting to hear what the school nurse says about increase in caseload among school children, because my understanding is it is massive.
Really?
Yeah.
We
there
u-
are-
we usually get a copy of an email. An email goes out saying when a member of the school community is positive, but we haven't had one in several days. So
Yeah.
maybe they're not still doing that.
And I share a spreadsheet with Katie Harrington that she is usually pretty good at keeping up to date. Let me look at it right now, but the last I looked at it was this morning. And she puts both cases and close contacts on there, but if she's swamped, she may have dropped off with that. Yeah, nothing recent on the spreadsheet, but she did send me an email this morning asking me a question about quarantine for someone. And she is, in a word, exhausted.
Mm.
And she is also home right now due to COVID. She didn't say whether it was herself or a family member, but
Mhm.
so, and she's exhausted. So poor
I
thing.
don't doubt it.
Ditto, I can say, I know anecdotally from talking to Carolyn Shores Ness this week that Deerfield's had quite an uptick in their schools too.
Yeah, that's my pal is the nurse at Frontier and
Yeah, okay,
said that it's huge.
Yeah.
It's the worst it's ever been.
right.
Okay. Okay, well, I guess we can start putting together a picture that will go out weekly with this kind of information on it. And I'll try to get it ready for tomorrow so that you can make additions to it. And we'll put it out on Friday and people will get it in time for annual town meeting.
Okay, do you want numbers from me tomorrow, Kat, such as I have?
Yeah, let's
Okay.
give whatever numbers we have.
All right,
The usual,
Okay,
how many now and how many in the last 2 weeks, but
All
then
right.
we can give a little more context on that.
all right. And what 2-week period would you like?
Well,
Tomorrow being
how about
Thursday.
Is it convenient to have it like 2 weeks ending today, or does it have to be on a particular day
I
of the
can-
week?
No, I can run a report for any time period. So
Let's
let's just
Then-
frame it, and I'll,
Okay, yeah, let's do it on the, ending today, and then maybe we can send out a report
Okay.
every Friday.
okay, so the ending today, so 5/4 through 5/18 inclusive, right?
Right, or else
Or
that would be
five-
what, 5/5, I
Or
think.
5/5 through 5/18, so that we're not double counting a Wednesday. Okay,
Right, yeah.
all right. I will run that report and get it off to you, and I will add in there any reports I've had
Any
of positive home
self-reports?
tests. Yeah, self-reports,
Okay.
right.
Mm-hmm, okay. All right. Okay. All right. Is there more stuff that we would want to say about COVID right now? for this meeting.
I think just the usual, encouraging people to get their boosters and wear their masks when they're in public settings and particularly inside.
Right, but I meant, what I was meaning was for this meeting right now, are there other things that we want to discuss?
It's going to be pretty hot on Saturday, so maybe in the message,
Sure
just
is.
adding a little
Mm.
extra thing at the end, post the COVID discussion about water and sunscreen. And
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, will do. Okay, so this thing that's about Sirius, I guess we'll move on because I think we've said everything about that. If you think of anything else, let me know. Somebody sent us an email saying they drove somebody to Sirius for a visit to a family member, and there were containers of what they said was human waste, and that it was going to be sprayed as fertilizer on the ground, presumably on a garden. And so I eventually got them to answer me. I sent them an email, and the email got lost. I left a message on the phone, and the phone message got garbled. I didn't think they were technologically so backward, but apparently they are. And I was told that they use urine in their compost as the source of nitrogen, I guess, although it hardly seems they would need more nitrogen. And that they had permission from DEP to do this. And so I asked the person I spoke to send me a copy of the permission letter, and she claimed to have searched for it in the papers of her late husband and not finding it. So the whole thing seemed pretty amateurish to me. I happened to run into the person who had emailed this information and their spouse, and I told them what they had said, and they said flat out they didn't believe it. They said it smells like poop, right? I mean, urine smells one way, and that's not it. So I don't know. I don't really have confidence in any information that comes out of there, and I don't know what should happen next. You guys have any ideas?
Yeah. Can we, I think we've sent Charlie or Claudia over before. Can we do that again?
I can ask them to just go and visit, I guess. I was also told, parenthetically, by the person who complained about the waste spray, that their friend that they were giving a ride to had been staying there during the winter, and that there was basically no heat in the room that he was staying in. And they have actual, they took a picture of a thermometer in the room showing the temperatures in the 30s. And there was no hot water provided. Unfortunately, they didn't mention this to the Board of Health before the person moved out. And once you move out, you can't request a housing inspection, right? It's for a current tenant only. So there isn't anything that we can do about that, apparently. But I'm just, putting that out there for information, that they are renting out substandard rooms, apparently, that don't meet the minimum standards of human habitation. But there's nothing we can do about it unless an actual tenant complains about it. So I'll ask Charlie and Claudia if they would just visit and have a look around.
That's good. I guess my other question is, does anyone else in the county have jurisdiction over that if we don't, that you know of? I mean, I don't know, but
What do you mean? Like,
any other entities that can get involved in housing? I guess not if we don't have a complainant that's there at the moment.
right. Well, the community, rather foolishly, I think, is pursuing this former tenant for back rent. So, and there is some kind of other agency involved in it. I don't think it's a public entity. And it's probably going to end up in housing court, I would think. And so that's really, as far as I know, the only other entity that would have any kind of jurisdiction or input there. Garrett, does that seem right to you?
I think so. I don't know exactly how they're structured. Are they structured as a nonprofit? Like how are they structured as a community?
Yes, I believe that they are structured as a nonprofit, and they advertise themselves as a sort of conference center and educational center, and then they also have people in residence there, and there are some possibly privately owned homes and stuff. It's a real mixed bag.
Well,
but yes, they are set up as a nonprofit.
so it sounds to me like they're, whether it's urine or feces, that they're inappropriately storing human waste. And so I think our first course of action would be to see what Charlie thinks he has authority to do.
Okay, let me write that down.
And I can't think of a situation where he would come in and authorize the storage of even urine in that way, or and let alone using it as a fertilizer.
Well, this woman was claiming that it was being used in compost, so I would assume that it was being composted quickly, that they weren't keeping it around for a year and then throwing it all in the compost at once. But frankly, she seemed so confused and so ill-informed about what was going on. I don't have much confidence in what she was telling me, especially since she couldn't document it.
Well,
She did tell me. Sorry?
Do you want my question? It seems to me if we can't get a hold of leadership there, which I thought you said you had difficulty, it seems to me the other thing Charlie could insist on is that someone be identified as the person who interfaces with us on these kinds of issues.
That's a good thought. The woman did tell me that they have composting toilets, and they then bury the waste for under 6 inches of soil for 3 years or something, and that sometimes thereafter they use that composted waste after that time on fruit trees. But that was the extent of what she told me. So really, I don't know. I never know what to think about them. But I'll see what Charlie and Claudia think they can do and are willing to do.
Yeah, and if we can get a contact person, that would be another good thing, to have someone we could at least have to come and talk to us.
Yeah. Yeah, they tend to avoid outside authority like the plague. They seem to think they're a separate nation.
Did the former leader die, or what's happening?
Yeah. Bruce died, and his mother, Josephine, I think that's what her name was, she died also. So they were the founders. And so the nonprofit sort of lives on, and they've been trying to refit it in some ways, and it doesn't really seem terribly successful. But and so I don't have any idea of what the structure is there anymore. Not that I ever really did.
And just for my knowledge, is it separate from the daycare that's run on Baker? The Red House or Red Bird?
Yeah, that's Hennessy Schiffman. That's a good question. I think that she might live there,
Okay.
but
It's not on the same.
but
because
I don't really know.
Because maybe that's also a way to investigate or pursue this. I assume she's licensed,
Yeah,
to do that. So
right. I don't know if that's actually on the premises or what. We'll find out.
And just
Good question.
one other question, Kat. I think they came to us several years ago now because there were concerns about, or they came and presented to us some sort of, help me everyone, some sort of water system that they were using for plantings that they had. And
They had an old well, I think, that they wanted to use for irrigation. And for some reason, that well was not appropriate for use in the buildings. And yeah, it's been a vexed question about the water up there. I can't remember the details on that, but there was a problem where if somebody was watering the garden, somebody else didn't have a shower water. Right? It was there was a sort of a cutoff. So they don't really seem to have enough.
I just wondered if
And
that was
they're up high.
Yeah, I just wondered if that was any other way to help Claudia and right, Charlie go in and ask some questions, because there was any other concern that we had that was that we had authority to go in and look at or think about.
Yeah, okay, let me make a note of that. And there was also, they also came to us, if you recall, about their kitchen. And we heard all about how everything was going to be very commercial and professional and whatnot, and who knows.
Right.
Okay, what we might ask for, and maybe one or more of us would want to go, is a sort of just a visit, right? Show us around, show us what you got, give us an idea about how we might interact, and then just go check it out. Because I've never been up there, and I don't really know what they've got. You can see some stuff on their website, by the way, if you're interested.
I think that's a good idea, that they'll let us do that. That would be another way to get to.
Yeah. Yeah, we could sort of pitch it as, people are always telling us things about Sirius, and we don't know what to think about it, and we're not familiar with it, and we would like to come and meet with you and kind of find out what your goals and methods are. And then if we don't like any of them, we can say so right up front. Okay. Do we have any other thoughts on Sirius?
I think it's just about checking with Charlie about what is appropriate storage of human waste. If it's not a part of a composting system or a part of septic. I don't know what's allowed under statute.
Right, but of course, we don't know what they're doing either, so we don't even know what to ask. Right, I mean, what we need is more information about what's going on up there. It's pleasant to just ignore it, but maybe not. Maybe we better not. Anything else on that topic? On to town meeting preparation. Did you guys know that Walter Tibbetts has an injury?
No.
He got some rather severe injury. I don't know what it is. And he's going to have surgery. And that means he's not going to return to active duty before his retirement on June 30th.
Wow.
Which is a drag. Imagine spending your last 5 or 6 weeks of your career in convalescence.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we
I
know
just
if it
found that out.
happened- Sorry, Kat. Do we
Go
know
ahead.
if it happened on the job here or at his other job? Do we know?
I don't know where it happened, but I asked Grace when she told me if he was injured in the line of duty, and she said no.
Oh, okay.
So it was either doing another job or it was in his personal life. But I don't know. That information has not been shared with me. However, Becky talked with him today, and Mark Foster is trying to just hold things together. He's not in charge, but he's trying to hold things together, and he's going to try to arrange to bring the trailer down to school on Thursday evening when they have their regular meeting. He's going to try to mobilize the guys to get it there. And we can go on Friday, and we should set a time when those of us who are going to be here and available can go and excuse me, empty out the trailer. I know Wim can't make it. He's not going to be back in time. I'm assuming Garrett has to work.
So depending on what I accomplish tomorrow, I have to go into like Cambridge area tomorrow. If I'm able to accomplish deliveries to test kit deliveries to all of the communities I have to hit, then I'll be here on Friday. But if I have to go back, I would go Friday morning and probably won't be back until the afternoon.
Yeah, I'm not sure when town meeting setup is going to happen on Friday, but I would think that if we went down in early afternoon to deal with the trailer, and at the same time we could load tents into our own cars and drive them up to town hall to set up for the meeting. By the way, Arlene, on Sunday, I thought I'd go to the shed and sweep it out, because you said it was all full of mouse poops, and set some mouse traps, but I couldn't operate the lock. So, and that may just be me, because I'm lock challenged.
Oh, sorry. Well, I can definitely make it on Friday. When I went, I had no difficulty with the lock, so I'm not sure what that was about, but I can come on Friday and get there a little early and open up. But what time? You said early afternoon. Shall we pin that down?
I was thinking like maybe like 1.
All right. I'll put it down for 1, and I will be there a little bit beforehand.
And from the trailer, if there is stuff that needs to be taken to the Leverett transfer station, I could put it in my truck on Saturday morning and then Sunday bring it there.
They're open on Sunday?
Yeah, they have
Mhm.
Sunday hours.
Oh, interesting. Okay,
And I can,
Okay.
I can help on Friday also. I can be there. at
Great.
1.
that'd be great.
No, I'll let you
Um,
know Thursday if I can be there on Friday. So Friday,
Okay,
right?
it shouldn't be a really big job. There's not that much stuff in the trailer. The bigger trailer, or the bigger job there is getting the tents up to town hall, and then helping with whatever help they need up there, getting the tents set up. One of our tents is going to be used for that mask tent.
And are other town officials going to be there again? Because it really helps when we have teamwork like that.
I assume so. I assume we're going to have set up just like we had last year. I will check. I forgot to check on this and see if there's a designated time when everybody's going to assemble, or when the big tent is going to be delivered, or what. And we can adjust our time if we need to. Obviously, if it's, I mean, plan B for the shed or for the trailer is if they fail to get the trailer there, we can always just go and carry the stuff in our own cars down to the shed. There's nothing so big and heavy that we couldn't do that. And what we would do in that case is leave the signs in the trailer. They can get rid of them themselves.
Yeah.
Because that's the only thing that we're not planning to keep, as far as I know.
And Kat, can
Okay.
you find out how many of our trailers, how many of our tents they do need? And don't we have 2 different sizes?
I think we do. I meant to ask you about that. Grace
I think we
asked me
do.
how many. Grace asked me how many tents we had, and I said I think 4, but maybe 6. And she
I'm
said,
thinking
well, she was hoping. Is that, yeah?
I'm thinking 6.
Yeah, I am too, and I hope so, because Grace said she was hoping for 6. I
Okay,
think there are 2 different sizes,
I think
but
so.
I can't remember which, if it's 4 big and 2 small, or vice versa.
Yeah, I can't either.
But
If I
we'll
remember
find out.
correctly, it's like, I think it was 2 long, narrow ones from when we did the setup at the school.
Yeah. And then 4
that
like
was
square ones.
square ones, I think. Yeah.
That
Yeah,
sounds about
okay,
right.
great. Okay. So apparently Grace wants them all.
Okay,
Okay, so we'll plan to meet there at 1 o'clock unless I tell you different, and I'll check on that tomorrow.
Sorry, I can't do it. But
Well, you can help take them down again, Wim.
yeah,
all
that's fun too, Wim.
All
right.
right. All right. So on the opt-out application, I think I sent you the checklist and all of our things that I claimed to be doing, and one of them is to distribute something at town meeting. I didn't hear back from Chris Craig with anything at all. I didn't get any answer from him, but I downloaded, and Grace kindly copied for us the Triple E fact sheet from DPH, and of course all the information about habitat reduction and bite protection and so on is the same for every other mosquito disease. So we'll distribute that at town meeting. And I think that's all we have to do between now and town meeting. Oh, the select board is meeting on the Tuesday after town meeting, which I think is the 24th. And that will be the meeting at which we'll present our plan, our alternative mosquito treatment plan. And they will vote on it and get a certified vote. And then we'll be ready to submit our application when it's due on the Friday of that week. So we're on the agenda. Becky put us on the agenda for that meeting. So we should be good to go.
And are you making that presentation, Kat?
I can do that, yeah. It's no big deal. It's pretty much cut and dried. I think you saw the checklist, and then there's a short narrative that goes with that, and we'll just promise to do all that stuff.
Okay.
What I'll do, my God, that's coming up so fast. This month has been just a killer, and it's only half over. I'll work up that narrative. I'll try to do it tomorrow. I didn't get very far earlier. And I'll circulate it around with the checklist. And when the checklist and whatever I sent around went around the first time, nobody said a single word in response. And this time, maybe if you have any suggestions or even no suggestions, if you'll let me know that, that would be good.
Yeah, okay.
Hello, anybody there?
Yeah, right. I know. Sometimes I feel like my emails just go out into the ether, and because nothing comes back.
Who said they were tired earlier? I think all of us are tired.
We're all beat, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
This has been a brutal month. So is there anything else that we need to talk about now?
Yes, I'd like to. I didn't bring my notes with me because I'm in the process of moving back, but a couple of things I want to update you on. And one is just to remind everyone, I don't know if you know him, I'm on the Western Mass Homeland Security Council. And as part of that, they're having an AAR review. And I am scheduled to be interviewed on behalf of Shutesbury simply because I'm on the council. So they're going to be interviewing. Did you say stop?
Well, I wanted you to, I didn't say stop, but I was hoping you'd remind me what AAR means.
After action review for COVID.
Oh, for COVID, okay.
Yes.
I see.
And this,
Okay.
everybody's doing after action reviews for COVID at this point, Kat. And so
even though COVID isn't over.
Exactly, but I think it's to kind of get a sense of, where we are to date and how things have gone and to be better prepared for the wave. So this one is the after action review for the Western Regional Homeland Security Council, which I am on. And so one thing I'm wondering, and this is an ask, is anybody else at all interested in learning about some of these other things that I'm involved in? Should I decide not to run again or something of that sort? Would anyone like to participate?
You don't realize that we're holding you hostage and we're not letting you go?
So anyway, just curious. I'm just throwing that out there.
That's a really good point, Noreen, that we, for, continuity of operations or whatever that's supposed to be, we should know a little bit more about what each person is doing in case we have to have a transition.
Well, this is completely optional, and it just so happens that, Carolyn got me involved in it, and so I'm part of it, and it actually is quite interesting, and I've enjoyed it. So it's not a requirement, but it is something that keeps us involved. And basically, what I'll just tell you quickly, but the Western Mass Homeland Security Council gets over $1 million a year that we use for working on trying to plan for pandemic kinds of issues, training and education throughout a 4-county area, equipment purchasing, that kind of thing. So, and it involves public health and public safety and highway department and UMass and a lot of different providers and responders from across 4 Western Mass communities. So it's really interesting, and there are a lot of really good contacts that we have by being on that particular council. And they
And
do
how
great
often,
things.
how, go ahead.
We meet once a month.
Mhm.
And I'm on the training and education committee, and then I sit in on the whole council meeting, which reports on all their committees. And, you know, we spend money, as I said, on training and education and equipment purchasing and really planning for pandemic remediation and, you know, when pandemics do in fact occur.
Mhm.
So that's it in a very short nutshell. And it's a state appointment, so.
Uh-huh. And so people are recommended and the state appoints the members?
Correct.
Mhm. And what is the entity that does the appointing?
I think it's Department of Public Health, DPH.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah,
interesting. Okay.
Yeah. But there's also, obviously, there are federal partners too. The money is primarily federal money that comes in.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's one thing. And the second
Okay.
thing is, again, AARs, and this time, I think I talked about this a little at the last meeting, both FERCog and MAPCO. You know what those things are, Wim? Those,
You know,
Connect-
FERCog, and I know you've mentioned MAFCO before.
MAPCO stands for the Mohawk Area Public Health Coalition. And what we do is we plan for emergency preparedness and responding to any kind of disaster or public health emergency in Franklin County. So both of those entities are also conducting after action reviews. And FERCog, I think I mentioned last month, lost Tracy Rogers, who is the really director of emergency response on a number of different levels, and she's gone to work somewhere else. So they're in the process of thinking through reorganizing. This is why the AAR is particularly important now, because they have some staff changes and there's some opportunities to think about how we can really better approach emergency preparedness planning and execution in Franklin County. So we are all going to be, us and every other town in Franklin County are going to be getting an invitation soon from MAPCO and FERCog to participate in a meeting with some consultants they have hired to take a look at what could potentially be done to improve emergency preparedness planning in Franklin County. And this is actually a pretty high-powered consultant group that they've hired to do it. So I'm just urging everyone to please pay attention when that email drops in your box and maybe read it and perhaps think about attending this AAR, again, sort of interview that's going to be taking place by these consultants sometime soon, sometime probably in early June. And, you know, I'll remind you again, but I would again ask if there's anyone else that's interested in learning a little bit more about these things. I think it's probably a good idea. You know, Bill directed me to one of these meetings 10 or 11 years ago now when I came on the board, and, you know, got me involved and interested, and I've been doing it ever since. So if there's anyone else that has any interest, or I would encourage any or all of us to attend. They also want select board members, and they would like Walter to attend, so we hear from our emergency response team, and you know, and any of us who are available. So I won't belabor it, but be aware it's that we're going to get an invitation to that soon.
So Noreen, could you give a little explanation of the relationship, the nature of the relationship between FERCog and MEFCO?
Well, FERCog is, I guess, the boss of MAPCO. They received the money from the federal government and the state for emergency planning in Franklin County. And we get over $100,000 a year for a planner and support staff at FERCog to help us purchase equipment, share equipment, put together emergency response teams across the county. Right now, there are 26 in our 26 towns. And, you know, do our exercises, develop our emergency response plans, and execute them. And what this is really looking at, and I think what we've learned during COVID, is our 26 little towns do not have the resources necessary in an epidemic of this sort to respond. I mean, we do respond at a certain level, and we all volunteered and helped out, but we could not have put together, I think we all agree, we could not have put together our own clinic, for example, for COVID. So
Noreen, could I ask a clarifying question there? When you
Sure.
say our 26 little towns couldn't have done this, you mean as individual towns,
that's exactly
as
what,
compared to a coalition of 26 towns that can do it?
yes, or some of the things that are being discussed, for example, Catherine, or is maybe a coalition like the one we've just applied to be a public health excellence grant with, maybe a coalition of 5 or 6 towns together could put together enough volunteers and assemble clinics and respond appropriately to handling medications and the way they need to be handled, and you know, responding in whatever medical way needs to be responded to, you know, that population in the area. So there are other ways we're looking at maybe organizing to make ourselves more effective in the sort of modern emergency response community.
Okay, and how does MEFCO come into this?
Well, that's what MAPCO does. That is our role is emergency preparedness planning.
And so MEFCO is a sort of dependent of FERCog.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Okay.
they get the money, they administer the grants, they, you know, assemble us to come together. They, as you know, ask us to do certain things to meet deliverables that we have, you know, required to respond to get this $100,000 grant that we get every year.
Okay.
And
Okay.
we're one of the few entities in FERCog that do get money. Like the REPC, for example, doesn't get much money. I think they get 15,000 compared to our 100,000. So FERCog has to, I don't know how to say this. They're a little more interested in what we do and how we spend our money because we do get a fairly large grant. I mean, Garrett, you might have more to say about this. This is really your line of business.
Yeah, so I think there's 3 funding streams that come into FERCog as the sponsoring organization for the Health and Medical Coordinating Coalition.
Right.
One. So there's the monies that would go to MEFCO, which are the Public Health Emergency Preparedness or STEP dollars.
Right.
There's the Healthcare Preparedness Program dollars or HPP dollars that are designed for healthcare coalition development and building. And then there's Medical Reserve Corps funds. And so those dollars, I think, probably come into FERCog, and then they also distribute some of those funds out to, say, like Pioneer Valley Planning Commission.
Yeah, I'm not sure the Medical Reserve Corps comes in, but that doesn't matter. But yes, the Health and Medical Coordinating Council all fall under the umbrella of under Tracy. They did, so yes.
Yeah, but I think the biggest chunk of that money is the public health dollars. compared to MRC or the healthcare preparedness.
So FERCog is the parent, and the two children that we're concerned with are MAPCO and HMCC. Is that correct?
Largely.
Yeah.
Largely. Okay.
I mean, we're concerned, we're connected to the MRC funds insofar as the MRC unit covers our community,
Mhm.
but there's less direct involvement with it. Like, I don't think MAFCO does a lot of work with MRC
No,
deliverables.
no.
And so
So
how
the-
does it interact with HMCC? I mean, where's the interaction there?
Across the state, the public health coalitions are sort of a sub-coalition of the HMCCs.
The HMCCs, as far as I can see, it seem to have a larger role, Kat, in purchasing supplies and equipment and getting them out to the various emergency dispensing sites.
Mm,
Uh,
I see.
And also responding, they're on 24-hour, 7-day-a-week emergency response, should there
Uh-huh.
be any sort of crisis that occurs in any of our towns. Now,
Okay.
they don't actually respond, but they help coordinate the response, and they help to remind us of who our resources are and, you know, what we need to do. So they're available for that kind of information and assistance.
Yeah. Right. There's a lot of layers here, and it's quite. If you're not the one that goes to the meetings as you do, it's very confusing.
Yes, it is. And even if you are the one who goes, it has been quick.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear.
And
that.
you don't work it every day. It's, yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure that at the Olver Center, everybody there totally gets it, but the rest of us are in the dark.
Right. And just so, everyone knows, I've been actually co-chair of this group for 5 years now. So that's kind of put me in the center, trying to learn more and, work on various issues.
Right.
Yes, thank you for doing this for so long.
Yes, thank you. You're putting in a lot of time and effort on this, and
Yeah.
I certainly appreciate it.
And
Well, as
Maureen,
I said,
I'm happy to
Bill
backbench-
encouraged me.
Sorry. I was just gonna say, I'm happy to backbench for you if that's, because that seems to be what you're asking, is if someone can, provide support to you.
Yes, I'm just wondering if anyone else is interested or wants to, should, I decide I'm gonna not be part of the scene at any point in time. Because there are a lot of layers to this.
Mhm.
And none of them are required, really. We don't have to do this. We've just been involved in it because Bill was involved in it and interested for years. And we've always been one of the more active towns in both MAPCO. And I don't think Bill was on the Homeland Security Council, Kat.
No, I don't think so. I'm not sure that had really taken off much by the time Bill died.
Right.
I'm not sure.
So I mean, that's the other thing we could talk about at some point, is if we do want to have, a role in this, and how important it is to continue to be as active as we are.
Well, of course, Bill's legacy, I think, is important that you mentioned that. It was largely due to Bill that Shutesbury was always out front.
Yeah.
Right. If there was something happening, we were there and had usually already gotten there. And that seems like something to keep and to build on if we can.
Well, and I have to say, I believe we still have that reputation among the smaller towns, and that we
Uh-huh.
are probably one of the most responsive small towns, if not the most responsive.
Mhm. Yeah, it'd be good. It would be good to keep that. And of course, we get, a certain amount back. We don't want to become a backwater where we don't know what's going on and we're kind of always the last to be served.
Right.
So when do you run again or not?
I think it's next year, Kat. I think
Okay.
it's next year.
Uh-huh. Okay, we hear you.
Okay.
If it works for both of you, I think that it would be a good idea just at this point. I mean, right now, mentioning to anybody, right, we want somebody to, to take on something else is probably not, this is not the moment, right? But if it works for both of you, if you and Garrett would just kind of compare notes on a regular basis,
Yeah.
on what's happening in our part of the state and what context he can provide about the rest of it, I think that would be good. And then as we go along and things calm down, maybe we can kind of expand our footprint there.
Well, yes, I think the thing that might be helpful now is, since these AARs and some restructuring is probably going to take place at FERCog, to have maybe myself and Garrett thinking about what might be, a more efficient or effective way for the entire, county to approach emergency preparedness planning is good. And also to keep in mind, if we get this grant, we don't know yet, but if we get this public health excellence grant, then we'll also be involved with the 6 towns as part of that. So there's a lot happening at the moment.
Right.
Or potentially happening.
Right.
The other thing I asked for in a meeting the other day was, if MAPCO could have any input into, hiring Tracy Rogers' replacement. And I was blown off a little bit about that, but I wanted to make sure we stated that we were interested in having input to that process, because that's going to be a very key position
for sure. Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, I've gone
Okay.
on. So.
Well, I asked you to, actually, and I appreciate it, giving us some grounding there. Are there more things that we want to talk about? In that case, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Yeah.
Seriously, you want to keep going?
No, yeah. I'm for it.
Right, all in favor of adjourning at 10 after 8?
Yes.
I think I've overwhelmed everyone.
Yeah, right. We all need a nap now. All right, I will. I'll see you, some of you, at 1 o'clock on Friday at school, unless